Hello everyone. So today I'm gonna show you how I did this beauty with my last Grabie haul. Well, my last shopping spree. I got like 4 boxes, and this is one of the ways I do junk journals with the Grabie. I use the box as the cover. You can see this. I'll show you a flip through, and then you can stay and watch me make this up. I also have other videos with make the ephemera and all that, okay? And if you guys want me to decorate the back, let me know in the comments and I will do something on the back. But in the meantime, I really like the way it looks now. I'm just gonna add my logo right here, and I'm gonna leave it like that. If you guys want, I can decorate it. If not, I'll just leave it like that. Whoever wins, okay? This thing I got it out from Amazon. It's what's it called? It's my logo. And I have such a hard time finding the correct stickers and all that. No, I think I got it. I also have from my other business. And I really like it because it's like more personalized, even though sometimes you cannot read it. Let me just push this right here. You guys think is it right? Should we push more? I think it's right. Enough. Yeah, handmade. DesignBySfhenska. I love how it leaves the imprint on the other side, on this. And I always put this inside the box, inside the journal. Alright guys, fast forward to the flip through and talk to you guys at the end, okay? Thank you everyone for stopping by, and I promise I won't bite. After I have this. Hello, how you doing? So today we're gonna do this Grabie junk journal that I already made one time with a box as the cover, but it was a very small box. It was one of the very few that they make different sizes. It was a stained glass. I will link the flip through because I don't have a video where I show how I made it. But this one, I want to show you how I'm gonna do this. I also make one with this size of box, but I didn't use the box as a cover. I used the box to put the journal inside. So I have two videos of different Grabie boxes, journals, and I also have a lot of ephemera that I make with them because I have a lot of boxes, so I use the boxes to make ephemera. And sometimes I record myself, sometimes I don't. Oh my goodness, I'm having such a hard time taking this off. The last time I made this cover with the box was last year. Wow, yeah, last year. So bear with me, I don't even remember how I did it. Okay, well, all we need to do first of all, I remember I used these flaps right here. I use them to hold the elastics because I'm gonna use this bamboo straws that I got at Daiso. Yeah, so I'm gonna use these straws on the outside. So I need this to be very strong because it's gonna hold the elastic. So I'm gonna put some eyelets here. Yeah, that's how I did it. That's how I did it. Yeah, the eyelets were here. Then I hold the elastic. Oh my god. Well, I was gonna figure something out. Oh, by the way, I did the what's it called? Opening of the boxes. Oh, 4 different boxes. There's another video where I read about what the box is about and all that. So if you're gonna see a flip through, how you call that? Right now, my words are not coming. When you show up all the things that you buy, like, for me that is like showing off, but I swear I don't like doing that. I like seeing people doing that, so I guess I'm showing off. Alright, so now what are we gonna do? I'm gonna use these flaps right here. Last time I used them as pockets, but it's so hard to fold them. Which is, yeah, I'm gonna use them as the pockets, the bottom ones only. The top, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna make bookmarks, right? So when you close this, right, you close it like this, right? I'm gonna have this one to close, so I'm gonna cut this one, so I don't need it. And with this one, I'm gonna make another bookmark. Okay. So I'm gonna make out the cuts and I'll come back, okay? See you in a little bit. So, I'm editing the video and I found out that I lost all the parts where I construct the when I build the cover. So right here I'm just showing you how I choose the pages, but I'm so sorry my camera died and I didn't notice that I didn't record any of that. But I'll show you the rest of the stuff. I hope you guys like it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll show you in another video how I did that. Thank you, I'm so sorry.
The Cuyahoga court formally sentenced Tyrrell Edwards to life in prison with the possibility of parole after only 24 years. While the court took into account mitigating factors such as no prior convictions, Edwards' employment, and his involvement in raising his children, these factors were not sufficient to mitigate his guilt for the crime. Heather Elvis was born on June 30, 1993 in Horry County, South Carolina. She was the eldest of two children in the family of Terry and Debbie Elvis. Her younger sister Morgan was always there for her, and sisterly affection was an important part of their childhood. The family was quite tight-knit, and although life in a small southern town didn't always offer many activities, Heather's parents were always supportive of her pursuit of independence and fulfillment. Her father, Terry, worked in the construction industry, and her mother, Debbie, was a homemaker. Together, they created a stable and supportive environment for their children. Heather was an ambitious young woman with a vibrant personality and a deep sense of self-worth. She graduated from high school in 2011, receiving her diploma from St. James School in Melrose, England. After high school, she made the decision to continue her education and attend college, but instead of going straight to another city, she decided to stay in her home county. Heather began her studies in cosmetology and enrolled in courses at a local college. She also gained experience at several restaurants, including Kilted Kilt and House of Blues, where she worked as a hostess. The work was enough to support herself, and despite her young age, Heather showed maturity and responsibility. As she transitioned into adulthood, her relationship with her family remained strong. Although Heather always strived for independence, she rented her first apartment in Carolina Forest, which she shared with her roommate, Brianna Worrelman, an out-of-state girl she had befriended in college. As if to prove her independence, Heather enjoyed the freedom her own apartment gave her. At times, she missed the warmth of her family, but she tried to do the things she enjoyed, working, studying, and building social connections. It is quite possible that it was this independence and desire to experience new emotions that led her into complex personal relationship. One of the significant events in Heather's life was meeting Sidney Moorer, a 37-year-old repairman whom she met in June 2013 when he was repairing equipment at her workplace at the Tilted Kilt restaurant. Sidney was married, but that didn't stop their relationship from growing into an affair. From time to time, he would come to the restaurant to bring Heather coffee and bagels. Heather, by her own admission, felt attracted to the older man, which in turn made Sidney more attractive to her. According to her coworkers and friends, the relationship between Heather and Sidney grew rapidly, and she enthusiastically shared her emotions with them. Her Twitter feed was soon filled with explicit messages indicating her sexual attraction to Moorer. In particular, she wrote that she prefers older men, and also openly expressed sexual interest in a man who was doing repairs at her work. At one point, she even expressed a desire to date him, making no secret of her emotional involvement. This, in turn, did not go unnoticed by her friends and coworkers. However, in September 2013, the romance with Sidney came to an end. At this time, Tammy Moorer, Sidney's wife, found out about her husband's affair with Heather. Talks that her husband might be cheating had started even earlier, but at that point, Tammy was deeply shaken. She took action to end the relationship between Heather and her husband. Tammy personally called Heather and insisted that she stop communicating with her husband. During this conversation, Sidney humiliated Heather by telling her that she meant nothing to him, and according to Bree's testimony, he ripped her apart mentally, making her feel unwanted and humiliated. After Heather and Sidney broke up, she tried to move on. However, in the back of her mind, she could not completely forget about the affair, especially since in conversation with her friends, she hinted at the possibility of rebuilding the relationship. What made things even more complicated was that Sidney's feelings were mutual. On December 17, 2013, Heather decided to give herself a chance and start a new page in her life. On this day, she went on a date with Stephen Giraldi, a man she had met recently. The date was quite harmless. They drove around the streets admiring the Christmas lights, and then stopped in the parking lot of Inlet Square Mall. Stephen showed Heather how to drive his manual transmission car. Heather took some pictures that she sent to her dad and Bree, talking about how she learned to drive the manual transmission car. Around 1:15 a.m. December 18, Stephen dropped Heather off at her apartment in Carolina Forest, and that was the last time she was seen alive. From that moment on, her life became a mystery to everyone. 20 minutes after she got home, Heather called her neighbor Bree, who was in another state at the time. They discussed the date and ended the conversation. That was Heather's last contact with her friend. Heather didn't get in touch for 2 days, and her friends and acquaintances began to worry. Bree, her roommate, felt anxious when she couldn't reach her friend after their last conversation. Heather had promised her that she wouldn't do anything rash, but her absence and silence was cause for concern. In addition, no one she knew where she might have been at the time, since she hadn't gone to work or returned home. At first, her friends tried to contact her through social media and cell phones, but without success. When things didn't improve, Bree and other acquaintances, after not hearing from her for a day, decided to contact the police. This was the moment when the investigation into Heather's disappearance officially began. On December 19, 2013, 2 days after Heather Elvis disappeared, her car, a green Dodge Intrepid, was found parked at Peachtree Landing in Secastia, South Carolina, about 13 kilometers from her apartment in Carolina Forest. The location was along the Waccamaw River, and already the very location of the car attracted the attention of law enforcement. The car was locked, and there was no Heather's cell phone, bag, or keys inside, showing clear signs that her disappearance was not accidental. These circumstances immediately led to the launch of an investigation, which became a major step in the search for the missing girl. The absence of Heather's personal belongings in the car was the first alarm signal for investigators. In a normal situation, a person would not leave their belongings in the car unless they intended to return. It also indicated that she may have been forcibly picked up or met someone who gained her trust and then took her away. Suspicions that Heather may have been the victim of a crime were confirmed when investigators found her car in a location where there were no obvious signs that she had stopped in the parking lot of her own free will. Once the car was found, investigators immediately began a search operation. Police officers involved volunteers combed the surrounding area, including the banks of the Guacamole River, where a body or any other evidence could have been found. Rescue divers dispatched to the search surveyed the river bottom in an attempt to find evidence, but neither Heather's body nor her personal belongings were found again. The river was thoroughly investigated, including its depths to Winyah Bay, but the search was inconclusive, only adding to the alarm and suspicion that Heather may have been abducted. The lack of footprints in and around the car also raised doubts among investigators that Heather had simply left of her own free will. Operatives began examining phone records and videos from locations that may have been linked to Heather's disappearance. The cell phone was one of the key objects to analyze, as evidence from it could give a clearer picture of the girl's last steps before her disappearance. Investigators soon gained access to Heather's cell phone data and began working with carriers to find out where her phone was at the time of her disappearance. Specifically, they found that her phone was active during the overnight hours beginning at 1:30 a.m. on D-Day 18, when Heather called her roommate Bree to record a conversation with Sydney. Heather's phone was followed by unusual routes that did not coincide with her normal activity. Cell phone station records showed that Heather's phone moved several times within a few miles of her apartment. The times the phone moved coincided with the times her car was found at Peachtree Landing. In addition, the data showed the phone was located near the marina, leading investigators to speculate that Heather may have been there, but she may no longer have used her cell phone for communication after that time. Phone analysis also revealed a connection to a payphone at 1:35 a.m. on Deck 18, which corresponded to the time Heather told Bree that Sydney had called her. That call, made from a payphone, was recorded near the scene of the accident, but despite investigators' best efforts, they couldn't pinpoint who was on the other end of the wire. This added fuel to the fire, as questions about the role of Sydney Moore, Heather's former lover, and his possible involvement in the girl's disappearance became increasingly urgent. Investigators also turned their attention to surveillance footage from various locations, including Walmart and nearby gas stations. Surveillance cameras at the gas station also showed that Sydney used a payphone, from which a call was made to Heather's cell phone at 1:35 a.m. Key evidence included video footage from private residences along the route Sydney was to take with his vehicle. The cameras recorded his truck traveling at 3:36 and 3:39 a.m. toward Peachtree Landing, and then back around 3:45 and 3:46 a.m. These recordings provided important confirmation that Sydney was in that neighborhood at the time of Heather's disappearance. The video also established that his car was in the area during the same time period when her phone was active. This allowed the investigation to establish a connection between Sydney and the scene, which heightened suspicions about his possible involvement in Heather's disappearance. Despite his denials, video footage, phone data, and other evidence continued to add up to a picture that pointed to his involvement in the events leading up to the girl's disappearance. The data collected gave grounds to continue the investigation in the direction of the abduction. The police did not rule out the possibility that Heather might have been forcibly taken
and transported to the hospital. Yes. His body was rushed to the same hospital where Eva Basil lay dying. The transplant coordinator sought permission from Mark's parents to donate their son's still beating heart. Mark's father, Larry Wiley, gave a brief voice-only statement to local media.
Two families have suffered a terrible tragedy. One of them never be totally healed. Hopefully, something good can come out of this tragedy.
They were good people. They were horrified. They were in grief, and they made the right choice. Eva Basil was wheeled down to operating room 6.
I said a prayer for her. I'm a firm believer in prayer. We're excited for her. We're also terrified. I mean, she could die accident.
Dr. LaFrac and his team gathered in operating room 12 to remove, for the first time, a living, beating heart.
They had been working with corpses in the morgue. Explantation was not taught in colleges, in medical schools at the time. The only way to learn it was to do it.
I would do a regular heart operation in the morning, and then in between operations, go to the morgue with the team, and then go back to the operating room.
Doctor, you were learning how to perform heart transplants. But this time, it was for real.
As ready as you were, was any part of you at all a little scared?
No, not at all. But felt totally comfortable with it. I've done this many times.
You feel like that?
Exactly, yeah.
Dr. LaFrac began to remove his donor heart.
LaFrac is a man with a pair of scissors, and he essentially cut it out of that body with scissors that aren't very different from what a second grader would use to cut colored paper. They're just scissors.
We cut the aorta, cut the phone out, and then just straight. Taking a heart out of the donor takes 12 minutes. It's 5 minutes for each. They take it out, hold, keep it close, and then put it in a bag so it's ice.
The heart, which ideally shouldn't stay outside the body more than 4 hours, was back, put into an Asian cooler, the same kind you buy at the super.
When we were gathering all our supplies, it was like, when we started to the bottom of the cooler.
So you brought your cooler in
I brought my cooler in from home. I still have a cooler.
The cooler with the heart is carried from 12 down the hall to OR6.
What would you read like an OR6?
I know it's a real high sense of anticipation. Oh my gosh, they were doing that.
12 is trauma and despair. 6 is hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Dr. LaFrac began replacing Eva's dying heart with the healthy one.
You remove Eva's heart, and now what? Once it's out, now you take the donor heart out of the cooler and do a little preparing on it to sew it into this big empty space, which is quite a dramatic scene. There's a person lying there on the operating table, Eva, with the chest open and no heart. And she's alive because she's getting circulation through the heart-lung machine.
He began to sew the new heart into Eva's chest.
The back wall of Eva's heart was left inside. That makes it much easier to sew the donor heart to Eva.
After about 45 minutes, the new heart was in Eva Basil's chest. Now came the moment of truth.
Usually, you have to have a palace. That is, in this case, there was like this odd alchemy, and the heart just started beating.
That must have been
it was incredible.
exhilarating. See, I get tearful.
And is that the moment you think to yourself,
I don't usually think like that, because it's not over till it's over, just because it's over. Every detective has a case that haunts you. And this case haunt me until the day I die.
the Karen Irvin murder case was closed. The killer was dead. But Detective Tommy Lee couldn't let it go. He went to a
No, I had some time with her mother. It would have been long for me not to go pay respects to Karen. My life was cut so short.
There's no way you can wipe away the story. The deeply disturbed man killed an innocent young woman. You can only move on to the next stage. Something positive happened as a result.
The Washington area's first heart transplant case is a dramatic story of one district woman's life renewed. It was was huge news. The first heart transplant recipient in the greater Washington, D.C. area made it through the operation. A 20-year-old mother of two was sent into the Fairfax Hospital. Finally, Eva Bates opened her eyes.
I just woke up. But I was like the other night. You know, I had forgotten that I was sick. And I just wanted to go home and say, like, I'm ready. You know, so.
You know, they're like, you're quite
Yeah.
She didn't know, but the hardest part was still to come. The fight against her body's natural instincts to reject your new heart. Transplant coordinator Mary Beth Williams.
The body never accepts the heart as well. It's always something else's doing. So you have to feel it always.
The way to fool the body is your anti-rejection drug. And since Eva was patient number 1, Dr. Pratt was teaching himself all about it. It was a delicate balancing act of suppressing her immune system to prevent rejection without leaving her too vulnerable to infection.
It was quite a while since I was
I think every time Eva had rejection, it was useless because her rejections were quite severe sometimes.
Eva was quarantined to guard against infection.
You look like from the movies now where people go into the room when someone has Ebola or something. You know, we put booties on and the head coverings and gowns and everything. Just going through. She must have felt so isolated and scared in there. It was difficult. That was the hardest. I want to see my babies. They would let my mom come in and she had to stand in a corner for 5 minutes with mask on and gloves, you know. And
So you couldn't hug?
no.
As the weeks ticked by, Eva seemed to be doing well medically, but struggled in her small, lonely world, says Deirdre, who was one of her few connections to the outside.
So, that's why I used to stay after sometimes and just sit with her, get some company, and we try and put her in things if she wanted it, or, get her stuff from home and bring it in. We did whatever we could to make her more comfortable. Eva was particularly upset one day, and she said, I want to get out of here, I just want to breathe fresh air.
So Deirdre devised a plan. She carefully cleaned her car, put Eva in a mask and gloves, and the two hit the road.
What are you doing?
We just went out for a ride.
They even stopped at McDonald's.
She had a hamburger and a Coke or something, and she wanted french fries. I think we did french fries, but not for sure. I'd like to keep my job. God bless Eva.
Yeah, and oh my God, the best one I've ever had was so tired of hospital food.
Dr. LaFrac had reluctantly agreed to the outing, but Deirdre and Eva kept the fast food part a secret.
I mean, we gave her guidelines, but she wasn't a big guideline person.
It turns out that the transplant transformed more than just the patient.
Surgeons aren't usually known for their bedside manner.
Yeah, that's how he was in the beginning.
In the beginning,
Yes, he's very quiet. He's very quiet. He's very hi Eva, I'm gonna reject this interview. And hi Eva, they just say down the line.
How did that relationship evolve?
I think that he was happy that it was a success, so he became a little more open, and then eventually, just came out of his shell.
I learned to love you and respect.
I thought that it was not standard operating procedure for cancer communication.
No, I don't think I've ever had that kind of relationship in a relationship.
Dr. LaFrac was the only one falling under Eva's spell.
She's so thankful and kind. She feels appreciated, so you appreciate that.
Nearly 2 months after being wheeled in so close to death, Eva Basie was finally given the okay to walk out the hospital doors.
The day she was ready to go home, the whole team was there to say goodbye to Eva, and her mom was there.
Oh,
Wonderful time. I mean, that was so exhilarating to see her go out that door. And to see it doctor.
Did you allow yourself a moment when she did go home to think to yourself, I have now accomplished a heart transplant?
Yeah, I don't
heart
think
transplant.
picture exactly her getting into the car.
Patient number 1 went home, but it would be years before she learned the whole story behind her new heart.
It's going to be a very special Valentine's Day for one district woman.
Eva Basie finally went home, but life was not the same. At first, she could only see her kids an hour a day due to the infection, and she was told she could never give them medicine.
Doctors were concerned that she would be susceptible to disease if she worked around sick people.
The procedure that saved her life was going to cost her her job.
More than her job, it was going to cost her her dream. She wanted to work with babies and old people.
Instead, Eva concentrated on raising her 2 children, Chiquita and Antonia.
She always asked the Lord to just let her see us make it until 18. So I think that was her main drive behind staying alive with her kids.
Stay alive she did, surpassing all expectations.
We thought transplant people were only 5 years. I think it was actually a shock to her after 5 years that we said, "Sir, no, you're still here, maybe we need to get a job."
Dr. LaFrac agreed. Eva was doing so well, he changed his mind. She could work in healthcare after all, and helping sick people deal with their health problems ever since.
I was telling my story about my, the transplant. I say things are not always going to be like this. I promise you, they will get better, and they did.
Eva continued to defy the odds. 5 years became 10, 10 became 15, 15 became 30.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary, Eva. Happy December 28th. On December 28th, 2019, Dr. LaFrac makes a call he's made on that day every year
Did you do on Christmas?
since the transplant. What did you say to each other in that anniversary phone call?
Well, I congratulate her and usually tell her I love her. I'll keep in touch with you. I love you, you know.
This is just the doctor.
Yeah, he's my friend. I still call him my friend because he's my friend. Yeah, I love him. I love him dearly.
And the feeling is quite mutual. What is that all about?
I respect her, you know. Sorry, I just told her, I don't hate her. Just really appreciate her. And that's all good. I just want you to for us.
Oh, no.
Had a life expectancy of 25 years. She's now one of the longest living heart transplant recipients in medical history. 20 years is considered great. 2019, Eva celebrated her 35th anniversary. So why has she done so well and lived so long?
Some of it is luck. And a lot of it is tenacity. She's really sweet, but if she didn't have a certain amount of tenacity, backbone, and grit, she wouldn't have gotten 33 years.
Dr. LaFrac celebrated here with his 5 daughters, retired 10 years ago. He happily tossed his pager into the Potomac.
Okay.
In that next chapter, he was determined to make way.
I'll use
At
this.
76, he recently rode in a 100-mile bicycle race. The heart transplant program he started continues to thrive. And so is the message. summed up by patient number 1.
It's okay to submit to loving needs. Those needs we donate to help someone else's loved ones. I was not used to donations until it actually happened to me. And I think a lot of us are until we actually know someone.
Okay.
Now, I'm even in the moment. It works.
Eva Basie never knew the whole truth about the heart that saved her life.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you.
It wasn't until Gene Weingarten published his book, One Day, that she learned the full story. The story that led back to that senseless murder of Karen Ermer by her estranged boyfriend, Mark White.
Do you ever think about her? Now that you know a little bit more since Gene wrote the story,
I do that. Yes. I mean, she would be a mom. Does she have grandkids? I think about her a lot now.
if you could speak to Karen's family, what would you want to say to them?
I'm sorry. Thank you.
You know, in the movie version, you get her heart, and in real life, you got his heart.
Quote, the bystander effect is relevant in cases of if others are present, individuals who witness may feel that someone else will take the responsibility to report the incident and not report it themselves. This is common in CA, Elder A, and SA situations in which bystanders recognize red flags or warning signs that indicate a person is not safe but do not take action. But the system totally, again, just was not there to recognize that the Frankie children were in harmful situations until it came to a critical point, as happens in so many cases like this.
Is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did have her lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
I was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
I'm just going to let those clips speak for themselves, but if you thought you were done, not a chance, because Ruby and Jody are already behind bars, but now they're in a whole new mess of legal trouble. There's a new lawsuit against Jody from one of her former clients during her Connections era, which you'll recall had heavy involvement from Ruby. The lawsuits claim that Jody was the cause of emotional distress and negligence towards him and his children due to some very terrible things. Quote, Hildebrand and other...
This woman, Eva Basie, got a heart. If she's still alive 33 years later, does that help you make any sense of what happened? It does. It really does. It's somebody trying to suck a chance of life out of the tragedy that happened. And so it seems Gene Weingarten was right. There is no such thing as an ordinary day. No way to make sense of who lives and who dies at any given time. Perhaps all we can do is treasure the memories of those now gone. Thank the heavens, and in the being an extraordinary doctor of nurses, those who still love them.
I'm still here. How about that?
Okay, that's the item. This one. This one here.
No one ever spoke with Gretchen on the phone. She never answered her phone. Yes.
Police checked out
court in the parking lot of juvenile justice.
Detective Henderson says what they found inside Gretchen's car was worrisome. Her purse sitting in plain sight.
I think a woman normally carries a purse with them.
If Gretchen Anthony is not in a facility in a hospital and being treated for COVID, if she doesn't have COVID, then where is Gretchen? That was $1 million question. No one knew where Gretchen was.
5 days had passed since anyone had seen Gretchen Anthony. Jupiter police investigators were determined to find her, so they canvassed her neighborhood wearing body cameras looking for clues. They were stunned when a resident approached them to say that early on the morning of Saturday, March 21st, she heard something terrifying.
I heard a really serious woman scream, like, just screaming, like she was being attacked. And then I heard her scream, no. Then I heard something about it hurts, stop it. The scream was really serious.
Did this woman call 911?
She did not. So people apprehensive about calling the police?
When you heard that story, what do you think?
I'm thinking that something definitely happened at Gretchen Anthony's home.
Officers became even more concerned when another neighbor told them he later noticed a soapy substance flowing from underneath Gretchen's garage door.
Somebody was in there cleaning.
That's what I think from that. We discovered that her entrance door that leads from her came into a garage. That door was locked, and it had the key broken off in the deadbolt.
Could Gretchen be inside? Investigators wasted no time finding out.
They forced entry into the garage, and there was no Gretchen inside. However, they noticed that there was a strong, pungent smell of a cleaning agent in the garage.
With body cameras rolling, investigators searched the home several times. They found evidence suggesting a violent struggle. A broken picture frame, shards of glass on Gretchen's bed, and a stained towel.
There was a piece of cloth that had what is referred to as PLS, blood-like substance, on it.
They got a huge break when they discovered neighbors had taken photos of a black Nissan pickup truck parked near Gretchen's home after the terrifying screams.
And who owned that black Nissan pickup truck?
David Anthony, Gretchen's estranged husband.
His vehicle was there that morning.
Investigators learned from friends and family that Gretchen
It's not
had
working,
filed
it's not
for divorce
working.
in 2020, and David had moved in with his mother. That's when David's former boss, Tabitha Hopkins, says he became increasingly unstable.
He regressed behavior-wise, so he became more hard to manage.
Gretchen's family told investigators she worried about her safety after the separation and had security cameras installed throughout her home and garage.
Who was she afraid of?
I was told that she had cameras installed because David had returned to their home after he left.
After they separated?
Okay.
Henderson discovered those cameras had been removed from the walls, possibly to destroy incriminating evidence. But he learned that while the cameras were gone, the images they once recorded could be recovered from the cloud.
This is just one camera provider.
It is believed that this could potentially be the best piece of evidence at this point that could give us some direction as to where is Gretchen Anthony.
While they waited for that crucial evidence, investigators scrambled to find out just what David Anthony knew about Gretchen's disappearance. They went to look for him at his mother's home, again with body cameras rolling.
Jupiter Police. Hello. Jupiter Police, sorry to bother you.
David's mom said she too had received a concerning text from Gretchen.
Gretchen's been in touch with me. But she's in the CDC center. She has the virus.
What CDC center is she at?
I don't know. She texted me this morning. I texted in there. I have the text. Would you like to see it?
I'd love to, thank you.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
When officers asked her where her son was, they became alarmed.
He had said he was going to Costa Rica.
David's mother told them that he packed up his truck, and on Tuesday, March 24th, 3 days after Gretchen disappeared, he grabbed his dog Kobe and hit the road.
Once they know that he is attempting to flee the country, he definitely becomes a suspect. They are very suspicious of him.
Adding to their suspicion, what they discovered on the video retrieved in the Jupiter Medical Center parking lot, where Gretchen's car was found.
There was security footage that showed Gretchen Anthony's Mini Cooper pulling into a parking space, and there is a tall figure walking away from her vehicle. David Anthony is about 6'7", 6'8".
And does that look like somebody who could be 6'7", 6'8"?
Absolutely.
Investigators were convinced David Anthony was somehow involved in Gretchen's disappearance. Now, tracking Gretchen's cell phone could be key to finding David.
Finally, Gretchen's phone was taking off the power on an area of Pensacola, Florida.
That's like 600 miles away.
Yes, her phone is on the move.
There's a lot of moving parts here, right? So we're trying to still answer the question, where's Gretchen? Where is David? And so the cell phone records become a very critical part in locating David Anthony.
Investigators say phone records can track David across Florida, as he left a paper and video trail. Cameras recorded him stopping at jewelry stores to sell Gretchen's jewelry. One store owner shared a memorable conversation.
That he came in wanting to sell some jewelry that had been left to him by a family member that had died from COVID.
COVID strikes again.
COVID strikes again.
In all these videos, nowhere was Gretchen on the scene.
While David Anthony was leaving his Odyssey trail to the place from, he had one huge advantage. Remember, they had learned from his mother that he was on his way to Costa Rica. He could be long gone.
We are now operating days behind David Anthony, understanding that his intentions at this point are to leave the country.
So it's now, from his perspective, catch me if you can.
Yes. Now we're on the hunt for David Anthony.
To her friend Kelly, Gretchen Anthony was someone who connected instantly with everyone she knew.
She was so radiant and just had this gentle gracefulness about her. Had
Oh, we
those beautiful
have
brows.
to use the right hand.
Someone who should somehow be protected from harm.
In a perfect world, you would hope and pray those people have angels around them to keep them safe.
But now, Gretchen had been missing for 6 days.
What is going on, and why is my beautiful friend missing?
A quick prosecutor Michelle Nixon knew the key to finding Gretchen was finding her estranged husband, David Anthony.
Yes.
She had been told David was on the run to Costa Rica and had a head start.
We're trying to make up time. We're trying to move quickly and play catch up.
Investigators tracked Gretchen's and David's cell phone signals, which appeared to place both phones traveling together, heading westward across Texas.
Does that suggest
stolen vehicle?
Investigators dug into David's past. What they learned was stunning. So David Anthony originally was known as David Anthony Deutsch, and then later changed his name to David Anthony.
Where did he go? Oh my god.
Here to the Palm area, actually, went to the same high school my children went to. It's weird that nobody realized that there was a difference.
Nobody realized, for instance, that as David Anthony Deutsch, a star college basketball player, he held up a Blockbuster video store armed with a squirt gun and assaulted a police officer. He reached a plea deal in each case and spent a short stint in jail. David Anthony has had a history of criminal conduct. It's not that uncommon for someone with a criminal past to try to escape that past. Tabitha Hopkins, David's former boss at the gym in Jupiter, had noticed something odd about David.
He's very talented, and his skill level was amazing. His moods could be high or low.
Do you feel as though he does have this Jekyll and Hyde personality?
100%.
Tabitha says he became so difficult to manage, she was forced to fire him in 2017.
Mm.
She gave him a second chance a few years later, but by early 2020, he was increasingly unstable.
I basically said, what's going on? What's wrong with you? You are not the same person that I knew.
Tabitha says she was forced to fire him again, and this time she caught a glimpse of David's frightening rage.
That look, I've never seen before. He was angry.
Remains.
David Anthony appeared in court today pleading guilty. David Anthony pleads guilty.
9 months to the day after Gretchen Anthony went missing, David Anthony finally admitted what everyone already knew. He murdered his wife.
Oh my goodness, I'm dropping everything. What's happening?
It was a relief. Because I know that is what
It's time to go.
wanted. And to be able to get that.
Oh no, this don't go here because then I cannot reach.
David Anthony
I
chose
need
this
to make some.
patch of grass a few miles from Gretchen's house, behind a Walmart and next to a retirement home to hide his wife's remains. Detective Jared Kennerson took us there.
Okay, let's finish the closure.
And not get caught. I don't know. This discovery.
Alright, everyone. I'm gonna finish the closure and then this is gonna be the end of the video. Okay. I'm finishing the closure and then I'll come back next week and start working on all the ephemera we're gonna do for this beautiful junk journal. We're gonna do all the ephemera with all the goodies that came with the box. I'm only gonna use a few things like, I don't know, like a music page or another kind of paper to backing up or to make tags, but that's it. I'm not gonna use anything else, no stickers, no anything from anything else, just Grabie stuff. I may cover the bag, I don't know. If you guys want me to cover the bag, let me know in the comments, okay? Now cover the bag with all the papers they have. I have a lot, so no worries. So how are we gonna do this? Okay, we need to make sure we got it right. This is kind of hard because how am I gonna know what is exact? I'm gonna have to be like I'm gonna have to eyeball it again. Kinda. Oh, okay. Like something like this, right? Right here. I'm thinking right there. Right there. Let me make sure. Oh no. Perfect, perfect. Don't move. Yay. now it's going to measure that distance between these two. Where's exact butterfly? Okay. Hope I got it right. Okay. Well, let's play to the Lord that this is the correct measurements. Otherwise, well, we just have to make some adjustments, but that's all. So get your knife. Just one. Oh, I was gonna say, don't try not to go all the way because then you're gonna have a big line. It went too far. Anyways, now what you do is this. Get your piece. Open the little feet. Yes. Oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. That's one. I got the wrong. Yep, I got it wrong. This one. Oh, perfect. See, I just make the little dance with the little feet, so it was more easy. Like that. But since I wanted the same height than this, then I have to go up here. One, two. Take this off. Little feet. Now before I close the little feet, let's test this out. Does it close? This one does. This one. Yes.